All right, welcome back to another Stormgate cast, and I'm Algorithmor, and this is another game from the Goblin Cluckfest 3 Tokyo Drift. This one was again game two of this series between our red Infernal player, Elf, and our blue Vanguard player, Percival. And this match, as I said, is game two. Percival taking the first match. Let me change that. Get back to zeros. I had that wrong. Percival taking the first match. Um, Using a nice combination of Lancers, Vulcans, Medtechs, and even a couple Sentinels. But I think the real interesting part of that last game was that initial harass with the turret rush or the sentry post rush that Percival managed to do some pretty good damage with, and I think really delayed Elf's macro and put her behind enough to really let Percival take that game. So we'll see. Is that going to be the same strategy coming out of Percival this game? We see, of course, this map here. What is a secluded grove? Yes, secluded grove. It has a much different sort of pattern than that broken crown that we just were on. For one thing, we see that this camp is much further away, although Elf is creeping it now. Oh, the dog from Percival, seeing that Elf has gone for a vault into shrine opening. Maybe not realizing there's a single brood out, but that's pretty common with this creeping strategy. And now, yeah, these fiends immediately trying to get on top of this dog. Don't want that dog around while you're creeping, leaving that one fell hog to just sort of take out that final slime. I think that's cool. I've never done that before. I think I might integrate that into my own gameplay. Although, is the dog going to die? Oh! But the other dog says, hey, you killed my brother. That's not cool. And now the Fellhog should capture. Yeah, that's perfect. I love that. And we've got creeping also on the vision camp here with her fiends. This is a great way to creep in the early game, is using your fiends. They give you extra DPS. You can speed up that creeping even faster. Only problem with fiends is, of course, they have lower HP and they can be focused down a little bit faster by the creep, so you need to micro them a little bit more than you need to micro brutes. We got this dog going back, being a little annoying, taking the bite out of an imp. Just trying to see what's going on, seeing that there's a Hellforge in the back there. Now, Hellforge is used for upgrading units that come from the vault. That is these brutes. So it looks like we're probably going to get speedy brute upgrades today. And this is a cool new strategy that you can do with the current patch 0.1, which is that the brutes got a buff, a kind of buff, in the past, a buff that I've heard Elf call it a nerf, actually. She likes to have some polarizing opinions. It looks like she's maybe changed her mind because she's going to use that brute upgrade in this particular match. Now, how does that work? The original upgrade that you had at tier 1 sped up your fiends if you split them. Well, these fiends now get that automatically no matter what, no upgrade needed. That original upgrade was fast, 2525. It was a pretty much free upgrade anyways, and they've just decided to make it completely free. And then the second upgrade, and let's see if our Hellforge is done. Our Hellforge is done, but the upgrade is not yet started. It is Soulforge Descendants, I believe it is called. What it does is it grants 10 armor to your brutes. That's a real awesome thing. But then in addition, when your brutes split, instead of giving you 2 fiends, they will give you 3 fiends. So it is a very fiend-centric kind of strategy. And now we got a nice little surround. Ooh, I thought that surround was going to go down, but some nice micro from Percival to keep that Lancer from being surrounded. And while running away there, keeps taking a swipe here or there on some fiends and doing real good damage to fiends, managing to get a promotion out of it to keep himself alive just for one last second before finally being taken out. Now this army is starting to look a little bit dangerous. There are those 4 brutes there, and there are a couple fiends. Is Elf going to do some aggression? Now we have a Hornet out of Percival, sorry, which is enough to chase this home. Nothing here can shoot up except for that Hexen. The Hexen was getting focus fired home, so she decided, let me teleport out. And what's this? Another Hornet going back home. So I think what happened here is Percival decided, hey, I scouted you. I saw what you were going. You were going brutes. You had brute upgrades. So I'm going to go for this quick Hornet play, which, you know, maybe you haven't heard this before, but brutes are pretty bad against Hornets. And again, it's because they cannot chuck this giant sword into the air. If only they could, because look how giant this sword is compared to these wee little Hornets. If you could chuck a giant sword like that up into the sky, man, that would be devastating, which of course is why it is not in the game. We would not need a broken brute like that that could throw its sword. So this is just my poor infernal fever dreams. And there we got some nice, oh, I like that. One of them going down, and get a skull out. Yeah, skull shut out. Oh, is there a time for another one? Oh, I like almost getting both of those Hornets. That would have been a really good kill. Of course, having to sacrifice some Shadow Flyers for that. But if Percival really wanted to do some good harass with those Hornets, he needs to have a small number, like get about 4 or 5 of them, and then really get into the base to try and cause some pain. At the moment, what they're the best at doing is really making sure that this army kind of stays home with its static D. That's sort of interesting. How did that fiend get in there? I'm confused. I missed that. How did that fiend get in there? Maybe it was a Hornet that died with Infest on it, and then it dropped a fiend inside. Because again, I know I'm dropping bombs here today, but fiends cannot fly, so there's no way that fiend flew in there. We got a Nightfall infestation going down on these Lancers, meaning that they're now infested and will spawn fiends if they die. We got one Lancer going into that Buzzsaw camp, and we got a shield coming down from, what are these called? Ramparts, which are upgraded supply depots, which basically make it, I'm not actually sure what that does. Let's see what it does. Has 200 increased armor. Oh my goodness. I don't know what that means, but I think that means it's taking like, maybe like 33% damage or 25% damage. That's not good at all. But finally going down after the cooldown on that shield. And these upgraded brutes are just tanky. They're just managing to stay alive in here. More Lancers going down. And it looks like this push is at least going to do some serious damage onto this third base. We got Bobs that had been called in for reinforcement and for repair. They are now in retreat. We have a single Hornet up there with mass repair. And then, oh, I like this Nightfall infestation going down on all those Bobs and on top of that Lancer. And now those infested Bobs are dying and spawning more fiends. But there is sort of a little bit of a repair orgy going on there as all of the little Bobs are repairing each other and repairing those Hornets, which makes it very hard to kill them. And once again, we have a whole bunch of repairing Bobs underneath these Hornets, which means that even with the DPS from these Gaunts, these Hornets can basically, they can out-survive this DPS no problem. A couple veterancies being added here and there too with the promote ability. No worries, these Gaunts are out of here. A couple Shadow Flyers come in, and still the repair is actually going to be good enough to keep these Hornets alive. So while this was a pretty devastating push at first, these Hornets, these hero Hornets, coming out to save the day. Intended to be harassed probably, but in the end just saying, hey, I'm here to defend. In the end, I'm here to defend. I know I've got this poetry in my blood, everyone. Tell me about it in the comments. I'm on fire today. And wow, okay, let's get a repair turret then. These hero Hornets can get even more hero if they've got a repair turret underneath them. Now, what is Elf doing? Trying to maybe get her Gaunt Force high enough because without enough Gaunts, she won't be able to get the DPS to kill those Hornets while they're underneath the repair turret or the repairing Bobs.
Darkness.
And again, that's what we're seeing here. These poor Gaunts pounced on them by these Hornets, focus firing down the Gaunts, and with their bonus damage versus light, they just shred those Gaunts. These fiends just saying, hey, I want to hang out, maybe get a kill on a Lancer like they did. That was good. And maybe try and get a last kill. Maybe steal some resources. Shadow Flyers here. Shadow Flyers are good anti-air, but you see a very nice split. And, ooh, we have some Sky Mines going down. Are Sky Mines invisible? I don't think so. They don't appear to be invisible to me. So hopefully that means that Elk can see them. And it looks like both of our players here re-creeping again at that 10-minute mark. Again, this is as those creeps refresh themselves. You often will get a lull in the combat action and a rise in the sort of creeping around the map. These Hornets, though, where are they heading off to? Do they see this army here? Yes, they do. And these Shadow Flyers coming in. Ooh, very nice. And with that devastating blow, 2 Hornets going down, a third one going down. That debuff giving it negative armor. And these Reapers now, they don't, or sorry, Gaunts, I called them Reapers because I was looking to see if they had that Reaper's Rush, which they do not. You can see they're still kind of walking a little bit slow, like it's early in the morning and they haven't had their cup of coffee yet. But once they get that Reaper's Rush inside them, boom, they got those speedy legs and they can chase down those Hornets. Now we've got another little strike force. I really like this play by Percival, who's been focused not on making giant balls necessarily, but making these little strike forces. We got 2 Vulcans, we got 5 Lancers, and we got 2 Sentinels already getting cancel over here. Meanwhile, a little bit of a Fiend run by into the base here, trying to kill some Bobs. And again, that Bob isn't going to go down. Yeah, going down, okay. And it looks like this little strike force deciding, nah, you know what? I got to cancel on that third. That's good enough. I'm going to go home, tell Mom about it, you know, have a nice dinner, and we'll come back tomorrow. And this army from Elf is starting to look pretty nice. We got Brutes in the up front. We got Gaunts behind with their Plague Axes. Hopefully Reaper's Rush still on the way. And we got some nice slow Weavers just tromping along on top of this army. Let's go check up on our upgrades here. Yeah, Reaper Rush is almost done. Now, I've been saying these Weavers, they look like they should be able to knock these trees down. I wish they could. Not because I think that's a particularly necessary balance change. There we go. One Hellborn saying here, I'm here for the tree business. I do trees. Unfortunately, this Rampart targeting itself, or this other Rampart targeted, I'm not sure. Usually you want those shields going down on your turrets. And this is a nice little attack while we watch Percival's army try and reposition. And Percival's army is coming in from the behind here, right on top of this nice, expensive Hellborn. But with a nice little reposition, we start to get those Brutes out front, those Gaunts as well, and the Weaver's starting to pull those Vulcans into the back to try and knock them down before they can do that good damage to it. We have some stasis going down on top of some of our Weavers and Hellborns, and now we have this Percival's army in full retreat, or not quite, more in a controlled retreat, as these Lancers try to kite back a little bit using their kinetic redirection to give them a little bit of speed to disengage before they can attack again. Now, what that has meant is that these units have been able to push in to this 3rd base, or 4th base, I wasn't counting, from Percival, and managed to get a destruction on the command post. And these Lancers here trying to just slow the army down as Hellborns in the back. We can now see upgraded Hellborns with that Molten Touch upgrade, setting all these units on fire. And just a nice little strike force in the back here saying, I'm here to murder your base. We now have Helicarriers out on the map. Helicarriers, of course, being that nice endgame unit for the Vanguard that are quite hard to deal with as a Infernal, especially when the majority of your army, like we see here, cannot hit the air. The only real anti-air options that are available to the Infernal are, well, we see a bunch of Gaunts, which is good. We see another one here, our Shadow Flyer. And then the third one, which can be particularly good against Helicarriers because they're heavy, is the Spriggan. Now, these Helicarriers on their own can be a little bit vulnerable, and when there's only 2 of them, they're not quite at critical mass yet. But with these Hornets actually out front, that can be a pretty good defense against the anti-air of the Infernal. Now, unfortunately, this army from Elf just seems so much bigger that this Air Force from Percival is not quite, and that's a GG from Percival. And that puts us to 1-1 in this series, so please stay tuned for Game 3.